And we are recording. Okay, so welcome to History 2050, a race and ethnicity in U.S. history. Hopefully you're on in the right class. It's less likely that you're not. In person, I always worried about somebody walking into the wrong room in King Hall, but that is less likely here. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if you can, those of you that have your mic on, if you can mute it just while I'm talking. But as if you have any questions as I talk today, unmute yourself and or put it in the chat as well. So I said I'm Dr. Cardona, and I am one of the professors in the history department. This semester I'm teaching 4 classes. They're all online, so you won't be able to find me in person on campus. I do have an office on campus, but online is where you will find me. And this class is entirely online. So if anybody doesn't like that, wants to drop the class, you can do that. And I believe still this week you can add drop classes without having to get a permit, I believe. Might depend on the department. And I believe there's one person on my wait list. So if you'd like to stay on, and at the end of class, if you still want to add the class, it looks like you should be fine to add. So we can, I can take your information down and give and have a permit made so you can add the class. So before I go on talking about all the things we need to go over today, I like to see who's here because this is a larger class. I want to make sure I start getting to know all your names. So if you can, unmute yourself and tell me you're here, or put it in the chat that you're here. If you're, if your mic isn't working or anything like that, just so I start learning everyone. If you want to turn your camera on, even better, then I can see your face. But all right, first on my list is Yeshayahu. Did I say it correctly? Anywhere close? No. Okay, say it out loud for me, please.
Okay. Yeshayahu.
Yeshayahu.
You were close. You just added a bunch of spaces in between.
Yeshayahu. Okay, say it again, but without any stop. Say it quickly.
Yeshayahu.
Yeshayahu. Closer. I'm gonna practice.
You said the ya too sharply, but everything is good.
Okay. I'm gonna practice. I speak, read, and write in 3 different languages, English, Spanish, and French. So sometimes I get all messed up. So as I'm reading your names, do correct me, please. I will often say the wrong pronunciation. I would not sometimes the French comes out and I don't pronounce E's that need to be pronounced in other vowels. But I try to say everybody's name correctly. So okay, so I will practice. But next on the list is Peter.
Hello.
There you are. Melody.
Here. Yeah, Melody. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, good. Good. Daniel. Choi.
Here.
Great. Luis Cortez.
Here.
Jackie Cruz.
Hi, I'm right here.
Jesse Del Rio. No Jesse. Okay. Joseph Garcia.
Here.
Osvaldo Gomez.
Right here.
Okay. Juan Guzman.
Here.
Martin Hernandez. Martin? No, Martin? Or is it Martin? Okay. Stacio Jackson.
Here.
Is it?
You said it right.
Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Jennifer Jaime.
Here.
Great. Cassandra Juarez.
Here.
I think I see you. Yeah. Nylan Lolis.
Here.
Angelica Lopez.
Here.
Catherine Lopez,
Here.
Travis Lu.
Here.
Oh, there you go. Marcelo Macias. Marcelo, no? Okay. Daniel Mancias.
Here.
Mancillas, sorry, I'm like I missed the L's. Antonio Matute.
Here, right here.
Great. Dylan McCarthy.
Here.
Kaylin Medrano.
Here.
I saw. Okay, thank you. Fidel Merino.
Here.
Jerry Nevares.
Here.
Venus Olvera.
Here.
Montserrat Pena.
Here.
Leo Peterson.
Here.
Kelly Thon. Kelly? No, Kelly? Elizabeth Romero?
I'm here. I have my
Oh.
internet.
Okay, no problem. I see you. Arlene Serrano? No. Daniel Serrano? No, no, okay. Jacob Solis?
Here.
Luis Tapias?
Here.
Santiago Topete?
Here.
Matthew Tovar?
Here.
Alan Valladares?
Correct. Here.
Ivan Villagran?
Here.
Serena, I saw. Anmira, I also
Here.
saw. And then is Malaina Huerta? No? Yes, no? Maybe. Okay, well, most of you are here and have found us. We'll see if the other people show up during the class. So that this is already a victory. You're all here. Those of you that are new to Cal State LA, there's usually quite a bit of movement on the first day, the first week actually. But so today what we're going to do is primarily go over the syllabus. That's all we'll really have time looking at the clock and start getting a sense of what this class is going to be like. So let me share my screen really quick. Those of you that are upperclassmen will have to put up a couple of minutes of me showing the freshmen how to access everything, because I saw not everybody looked at the video that I posted on our homepage. And I think for those of you who are here for your first semester, there's just a few things that I want to make sure you know so that we're on the same page. Your My Cal State LA portal is basically where everybody's going to be telling you to go to access a bunch of things. That is where you go for the class website. I'm going to be using Canvas. It's becoming pretty much the standard kind of system for a lot of course websites at the university college level, but I believe also even at the high school level. So this is how your My Cal State LA portal will look, with a bunch of links over on this left-hand side. I have some starred that I use a lot so that I don't need all of them to show up all at once, so I can just go directly to the ones I need. And Canvas is right at the top. So this is where all the course websites for your classes will live. By now, most of your professors should have published a class website, unless maybe it's in person and they don't want to use a class website for some reason. Before the pandemic, I had some colleagues who had never had a class website. And so I think they had a hard time teaching online, but I've always used the online website. So ours for race and ethnicity and US history has the Statue of Liberty, and that's how it should look on your Canvas. This is how I've designed my home pages. If you're taken or have taken any of my classes in the past, this is pretty much what I use for all of my classes. So a home page with the video that gives you this quick guide through the website. My email is right here. So if you're ever in need of my email at any point during the semester, you have it multiple places, including at the homepage of our course website. I will be starting Zoom office hours this week. So if you have any questions that I wasn't able to answer in class or any concerns, come to my office hours. They're going to be Wednesday, 10 to 10:50. So before this class, and then Thursday, 11 to 12:15. Now, I know that these times are not going to work for everybody. They just don't. Most of my classes this semester are in in the first half of the day. And so these are the hours that made more sense for me to be at my office hours. But if you do need to come talk to me and these don't work, all you have to do is send me an email. And I'm pretty flexible. As long as I'm not teaching another course, I can usually meet with students, especially over Zoom. Right. Then I have a button that takes you directly to the syllabus, and we'll get to that in a second. But then modules. I break our course material over weeks. There are, I only have 15, technically 16 weeks. They count, the school's been counting the Thanksgiving break as a week of the semester. And so every week I have the material you need for this class. Right, you will have reading pretty much every week and an assignment pretty much every week as well. So if you click on the modules, it takes you directly to these. Right now, I only have the first 2 weeks available to you. You can see I'm working on some of the other weeks, but right now just the first 2 weeks. If you don't like getting emails from Canvas telling you every time I make a modification on here, you'll want to go to your settings, go over here to the account, and change your settings so that you're not getting an email for every time. I think some students like seeing the updates, and that's fine too. But today I know I'll be making more modules visible to all of you. So quick run through though of the course website. This is how it looks for you. So the syllabus is up here, and then week 1. So week 1, every week, I'm going to post the Zoom link for our class, right? All of our class meetings will be on Zoom. And so I'm putting the link there for easy access, but you can go ahead and save the link, bookmark it. I'm going to use the exact same Zoom link every meeting time. Once I've recorded the class, I'm recording this class, right? And then what I do is at the end, the Zoom will put the recording on my computer, and then I upload it on YouTube. And then I post the YouTube link here. I've been doing that for a couple of reasons. Students seem to like and just use YouTube regularly. And I've been told that, they can save and bookmark videos using YouTube very easily. YouTube also helps with the auto captions on the videos. And Zoom at the beginning was not very good with captioning. But if you ever miss a class or if you're having Wi-Fi issues during class and need to go back and rewatch, this is where you'll have the links. Right? I'll be posting these links. It takes a couple of hours for me to be able to upload the video and make it visible to you, but it will live in the weekly modules under Attend. We don't have reading this week. And if you watched the video, you heard me warn you not to get used to this. If you've seen the syllabus, you know that there's quite a bit of reading. I'm not going to apologize too much for that because this is a history class and we do a lot of reading in classes. However, this is a lower division class. And so I'm going to be giving you quite a bit of help as we go through the readings and helping you kind of learn how to read in history. For most of you, this is going to be your first history class at the university level. Or, for some of you, the upperclassmen, maybe it's not, in which case you'll be ahead of everybody else. But I approach this class imagining that this is the first history class at the university for most of you. And so I hope that this class serves as a base in which you can go on and take more history classes, or at the very least the one upper division class that you have to as part of your GEs. Right. We do have one assignment this week. So this is how I'm organizing my class, attend, read, and then write. for today, it's just to, or for this week, it's just to introduce yourself. Right, so I have a bunch of questions here. This is not a discussion board post. Nobody else will see your answers other than me. Right, so if you need to tell me anything else, right, so if you want to like share pronouns or share anything else at all, feel free to put that in your answer to this. You for you all, let me minimize this. Start assignment. If you go to a start assignment, it'll give you several ways of submitting your assignment. So you can upload a file, so you can save like a Word file or a Pages file on your computer and then upload it here. Or you can type up your answers in the text box as well. Or for example, if you're using Google Docs, you can submit your assignment via Google Drive as well. Right? Why does it say no? But anyway, if there are any issues with that, you can let me know. I already saw that a couple of you have already submitted this assignment. So you can go in and submit it now. However, it is not due till Sunday by midnight. As I start going over the syllabus in a second, you will see that all of your assignments in this class are going to be due at the end of the week, Sunday by midnight. Sunday by midnight. I see a question in the chat about bugs. Give me 1 second and I'll answer that. Yeah, go over here. Okay, let me go through the syllabus then, so that you all know what you signed up for this semester with this class. So here we go. So course description, the title is very straightforward with this class. We're going to be looking at U.S. history through the lens of race and ethnicity. Right, and seeing how that changes our view of history. Some of it will hopefully you've already had in your high school U.S. history class or whatever U.S. history classes you've taken in the past. What will make this class different is in particular race and ethnicity. Because of my area of specialty, I wrote my dissertation on the French abortion movement of the 1970s. And so I do a lot of history of medicine, a lot of gender history. Those are my areas of specialty. And so you'll notice that actually a lot of my lectures will focus on that, and about half of our readings will as well. We'll be doing a lot of looking at science, medicine, and how it's interacted with issues of race and ethnicity in the US. Course objectives, you can read through these on your own. We're going to be working a lot with sources, primary and secondary sources, and basically teaching you the different ways in which historians approach that kind of material. One of the main goals for me is to get you all to think and read and write like a historian. Right? Those are important tools that actually reinforce a lot of the things we'd like for you to learn while you're at Cal State LA, things like critical thinking, things like engaging with the modern world. I think these are skills that history is very good at working with. You do have 2 required texts. If you signed up for this class early on, there was a different professor originally signed on. I'm only keeping one of his books. I'm keeping A Different Mirror, A History of Multicultural America by Ronald Takaki. And let me stop sharing my screen so I can just show you. This book should be available at the bookstore now. For the first couple of weeks, what I'm going to be doing is, what I've already done is scan the reading and uploaded it on Canvas. So that gives you a little bit of time to get a hold of it. We will be reading not every single chapter, but pretty much every chapter in this book. Don't freak out. Has anybody started looking at this book yet? No, it's not as scary as it looks. When you look at this, it looks like, oh my God, it's a chunker. It's not going to be as scary as it looks. But this, I've also checked online. This one you can find for pretty cheap. If there are multiple editions of this book, I don't care which edition you get. You get whatever is the cheapest, right? So you can't rent those books. Yes, you can buy or rent. I highly recommend buying this because we're pretty much reading all of it. There's a couple of chapters I'm skipping, but everything else we're reading. Right. Now, here's something where it's a little bit more of a gray area. The second book I'm assigning is this one. It's called Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. This is where like my history of medicine comes through. This one's not available at the bookstore yet because I just put in my order for them to get it. You can find it on Amazon and on other online retailers for fairly cheap. We're going to be reading over 50% of it. Not every single chapter. I'm thinking we're going to be reading about 70% of this book. So if you like having the physical book in front of you, I do recommend you buy it, right? However, I've decided to just scan all of the readings from this book and make them available on Canvas. So if you're totally okay with just reading the PDFs that I'm going to upload, then maybe you don't have to buy the book. But if you're like, okay, if it's cheap enough for you and you're like, I prefer having the physical copy of the book in front of me, then go ahead. You guys are the most tech savvy generation, and yet you all preferred hard copies. I don't think so, but I will be scanning this one. So for the first few weeks, I'll be scanning this one as well. But honestly, I'm going to get tired of scanning this one. So I'm going to ask you to please buy this one or help each other out and like share books or like, you know, I shouldn't put this in the recording. Find other digital copies of it. Hint, hint. Am I being clear enough? Find whatever means you can of it. That one, this book has been around for a while. Actually, both of them have been around for a while. And if you know where to look, you could probably find it. And I don't care how you attain your copies of it. Just don't tell the bookstore I said that, because I think I'm legally required to tell you you should buy it from the bookstore. The edition does not matter on either one of these books. There's only one edition of this one, I think. But I don't care about editions, just that you're reading the right chapter. And with this one, it should match up regardless of edition. Yeah. There are other readings we'll be doing, and they will be available to you on Canvas. I'll be uploading them on Canvas, and will be PDFs or links. A couple of your readings are going to be like blog posts and things.
Oh.
Question? No, Matthew is just groaning at the thought of reading.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I approach this class too as knowing, like, looking at your declared majors, most of you are not history majors. And and this is why I do a lot of like basic prepping you all to think and write like historians. In fact, I don't think I have a single history major this semester. Do I not? Oh, no. Okay, well, there we go. And not a single history major. So, you know, you're not alone in this. So let me share my screen once again and go back to the syllabus here. This you want to know very much, the categories of the work you'll be doing. So a large chunk of your grade is going to be based on the weekly Canvas activities. So you're going to have mostly discussion board posts based on the readings and the lectures. So I'll show you what that looks like. Then you're going to have a couple of different papers. One about health disparities. Don't worry about that one yet. That's coming in a few weeks, and I'll give you the prompt well ahead of time for that one. Oh yeah, you can start ordering the books now. Yeah, for those of you that want to get the physical books, order them now. We're going to start reading it next week. Yeah, by next week, you're supposed to have done some of the reading. So one paper on this, one paper on Belly of the Beast. It's a documentary about sterilizations in California prisons. It's something that not a lot of people know has been going on. And we're not talking about like, oh, back in the 30s or the 40s. No, we're talking about, 10 years ago, forced sterilizations happening. And we're going to connect, I'm going to ask you to connect the material from the documentary to the things we'll be reading and talking about in class. I'm going to ask you to pick a work of fiction. Is it a work of fiction? It's more nonfiction. It's basically a kind of book report on an Asian American. The topic will be Asian American memoirs. I will give you a list of books to pick from. And for that assignment, actually, you will have options on how you will do that. If you hate writing essays, you don't have to write an essay for that assignment. You can write a video report, or you can record a video report. You can do an online website. You can get creative with that assignment. So it's not an essay. I'll talk more about that this week, so you can start thinking about what you want to do for that. The last paper you will write for me, the last one that's going to be due is going to be current issues, where you're going to have to find something that's happening recently this year, maybe even during class, and you're going to discuss how it connects to class. I also started doing this last year, and it worked really well. Because we're an all online class, it means I get to know you a lot less, right? In class, I can see your personalities, right? In the way you dress and the way you walk in, how you interact in class. And online, because I'm not forcing you all to turn your cameras on, I get to see less of your personalities. And it's a lot easier for some of you to like fall through the cracks and like not do as well. This is a problem that's been going on for a long time in online courses. So one of the things I'm going to ask you is to come meet with me once during the semester. Whenever you want. Come to office hours. Or if you can't come to my office hours, to make a separate appointment to come meet with me. And you don't have to bring anything to the meeting. You don't have to prepare anything. It's just come meet with me. Usually takes about 5 minutes. Get it over with. Last semester, I had somebody come week 1, and they got the points week 1. Most of the class waited till like the last 5 weeks of the semester, and that's fine too. But just at some point during the semester, you have to come meet with me. That's it. We will be meeting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live Zoom sessions. I think this, with the online classes, it does help you stay on track better. I'm not taking attendance, and because I'm recording them, you can go back and view them, but I think you should approach it as kind of that they are mandatory, because it keeps you better on track, and you tend to do better in the class if you're live at these Zoom sessions. Right? But also we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I understand when things happen and that people might get sick. And so as a result, I'm recording every single class, and it's there if you miss a class. Does anybody have any or what questions do you have right now? Nothing yet. For students with disabilities, you do have to be registered through the OSD office for accommodations. So if you need extra time on exams and things like that. And if you think you might, even if it's issues of like test anxiety, it's good to go and get registered with the OSD office so that those accommodations become automatic. If you've already been to the OSD office and registered, you don't have to do anything. They've sent me, they've already told me what accommodations are needed for students if they're needed. And so you're all set. But if you even think that you might need accommodations, please go talk to the Office for Students with Disabilities so that we can get that officially done. Zoom protocol. So because all of you have used Zoom before, you're all now practiced at muting and unmuting yourselves and turning your cameras on and off. Just some basic things about respecting each other and each other's opinions. We're going to be talking about a lot of political, controversial things in this class. And I want everybody to feel comfortable sharing it, right? And asking questions and knowing that they're not going to be judged and that nobody's going to be laughing, or, you know, that this is a safe space to talk, because I want to talk, right? Otherwise, it's just me lecturing at you. And I like to be a little bit more interactive with my classes, right? And that only works if you are all comfortable enough with me and comfortable enough with your classmates. And that requires, you know, knowing that there's no disrespectful things going on. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, like, you know, things will happen. You're in my house right now, in my office. My dogs will pop in here and there. I've got 2 dogs back there. Right now they're cool because it's their nap time anyway, but from time to time they get mad that I'm sitting at the computer all day. And then they'll come jump up, or they'll start barking because the landscaping people are here, or things like that. And that, you know, and same for you guys. And I always say, you know, if your family member, if your sibling wants to come and take class with you, that's totally fine. Bring them on to the Zoom. So I won't post a link for the books, but for the books, you can, all the information for the books that somebody just asked in the chat is in the syllabus. So you can copy and paste this information into like Amazon or, you know, Google or whatever to find the cheaper versions of this, or you can go through the bookstore. I'll show you how to get to the bookstore online for those of you that don't know. If you have the PDF, I cannot stop you from sharing it attaching it on Zoom. There should be an attach button over by the chat. But I'll talk a little bit more about how you all should communicate with each other as well. Let me just finish going through some of these things. Communication, how to communicate with me. So I'm not on campus, so obviously you have to communicate with me in class or via email or Canvas messaging. I know this is a losing battle, but I prefer when a formal email format is used. Most of your professors, it's safe to call them professor and their last name, right? So for me, Professor Cardona. I do have a PhD, so it's also accurate to call me Dr. Cardona. And it's been, I guess, now 5 years since I got my PhD, but I still love being called Dr. Cardona from time to time. But also, if you call me by my first name or anything, I'm not offended by that. The main thing with emails is that please tell me your name. Please tell me your full name. Your name doesn't always come up on the system, and I want to know who I'm responding to. And tell me what class you're in. I'm teaching 4 classes this semester, so if you tell me you're in my history class, that's not going to help me because I'm teaching several history classes. So just tell me you're either in, you can say I'm in history 2050, or I'm in the race and ethnicity class, and then I know what class this is in reference to. Because sometimes I assign things that are like similar. Like, for example, my other class, my world history class also has analysis papers. And I'm like, if you're asking me a question about the analysis paper, I'm like, okay, what class are you in? And give me time. Give me at least 24 hours to respond to an email. I always respond to emails, always, always, always. So if I don't respond within 24 hours, it's usually that I didn't get your email, right? Sometimes people don't notice that my email is C Cardone without the A at the end. Right? My last name is Cardona, and they just chopped off the A at the end and added a C at the beginning. If you misspelled it, then I won't get it, or it might have gone to spam or whatever else. So tell me in class that you didn't get it, or Canvas. As far as I know, I've never not received a Canvas message. Knock on wood that doesn't happen. Something that very important for you to know is that my late policy. I obviously prefer when work is submitted on time, but especially because we're in the middle of a pandemic, things are going to happen like they just do. I have something I've been using for the last year called the Life Happens clause. It gives you 3 extra days to submit any of the assignments without any penalty. There's no penalty. You have 3 extra days. All you have to do to use this clause is to send me an email and saying, I would like to use the Life Happens clause on this assignment. And you get 3 days. You don't have to give me any explanation, any excuse. It could just be you were too tired that day and you didn't submit, and you don't have time to finish the assignment. You don't need to tell me. Now, in this class, I don't know how many, I'm like, you can use it in whatever assignment you want, other than the meeting with the professor, because that doesn't have a specific deadline. But if there's an issue, a more prolonged issue, like, if you get sick with COVID and you have to go to the hospital for that or for any other reason, then you don't even need to use the Life Happens clause. That's an excused reason of why something can be late, right? So if there's a health or other kind of emergency, you just have to let me know as soon as you can that is going on, and that's excused. Otherwise, there is this penalty for late work. It's take off. So, for example, if the paper was going to receive a B plus, each day it's late, it goes down to like a B and then a B minus and so on. I do think that in a history class, you do have to attend class in order to do well. In my classes, I like to be like very explicit with the material. I don't leave a ton of room for reading in between the lines. I try to be as clear as possible with my expectations for each assignment. And I don't send out an email with that information. I just say it in class. So if for any reason you miss the live Zoom session, you'll want to at least watch the recording. You can watch it on 2 times speed or whatever you like, but you should watch those. And because the lectures will be part of the assignments along with the reading. This is not a class where you can just do the reading and you'll do great. You need both of those for that. Plagiarism, basically don't do it, but I'll talk more about this once we get into you submitting other assignments on what constitutes plagiarism and how to avoid it. In history, you are supposed to use other people's thoughts. You're supposed to use quotes from the readings, quotes from the sources. You're not supposed to make things up from scratch when it comes to that stuff. It's just about giving credit to what you're using. Right? When something's not your own idea, your own thought coming from your brain, it's fine. It should just be cited. In this class, I'm going to be asking you to cite using Chicago style. Has anybody used Chicago style before? Let me stop sharing the screen. Has anybody used Chicago style? No one? I didn't expect anybody, but I'm like, if I had a history major that I'm used to, MLA is the most common. It's what you've used probably is MLA. There's different methods. There's MLA, there's Chicago. Oh, what's the social science one that I hate?
APA.
APA. Oh, I hate APA. Fortunately, in history, the standard citation method is Chicago style. And I'm going to teach you how to cite Chicago style. Okay, I'm going to handhold you the first time, and then I'm just going to give you resources on how to do it. You can see nobody in the class has used Chicago style in the past, so I will go over it. It's one of those things that I will go over until all of our eyes bleed out. Not literally. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so this is the schedule. So I'm replicating this part of the syllabus on Canvas, right? Like for week 1, there's no reading, but there's the introduce yourself assignment. It's due Sunday by midnight, right? So it's not due Friday, it's due Sunday by midnight. You can thank my history students from a few years ago, because I tried out different due dates. I tried making it like all your stuff is due every week on Friday, and they were like, no, we like Sunday. Sunday by midnight. But you don't have to wait till Sunday by midnight to do it. Like this, introduce yourself. You can go do it today. Week 2, you're going to have a Canvas discussion board based on this reading and the lectures for the week. So you can see that I'm going to ease you into it a little bit. There's only one reading on week 2, and I'm going to ask you to do this reading by Monday. Right, so on the syllabus, I have it listed for Monday because I want to talk about that reading Monday. So this weekend, you do have homework. You have to read this PDF, this first chapter. But then I don't give you any reading Wednesday or Friday. All right, then week 3, I do give you reading the 2 days we meet. Monday's Labor Day, so we don't have class, but then Wednesday and Friday, you have a reading that's due each day, right? So on Wednesday, we're gonna be discussing this reading along with a couple of other things. You can guess if you've been keeping up with some controversial things happening online. And then on Friday, we will discuss this particular reading. Then you'll have a Canvas discussion board post due Friday by midnight. I'm sorry, not Friday, Sunday, always Sunday. Anyways, if you look down at each week in the semester, you see some weeks are heavier reading than others. And so you want to plan accordingly. If you're a planner person, make sure that you give yourself enough time on certain weeks. Or you can plan on when you're going to use your Life Happens class. You can see some of these. Mostly we'll be doing a lot of discussion board posts, but then you can also see when the other papers will be due. You can also see the themes. So these is very generally the themes we'll be discussing. Let me go back up. So we're going to follow some of the basic structure of US history class, right? Talking about indigenous communities in the US before arrival of any Europeans. Then we're going to talk about the arrival of different groups of Europeans into what is now the US. We're going to talk about the founding fathers and slavery. We'll be talking about what Western expansion and manifest destiny. And we'll try to put, we're not going to be looking at these in the typical way that like a US history does. Like it's not just about what happened. The Civil War, I'm actually not going to do a lot on the war itself. I'm going to try to focus on the aftermath of the Civil War, especially on Reconstruction, and then into Jim Crow. You can see when we're going to watch Belly of the Beast, Great Migration. Like the world wars are also going to be condensed. I don't want to spend too much time on the wars themselves. I want to spend time on the aftermath and what that means in terms of race in this country after the world wars. But you see, I really made an effort here to not end just after like this time period. A lot of US history classes tend to end after the civil rights movement. We're going to be talking about basically the years of the Bush administration, the war on terror, and the war on drugs, about the Obama presidency, and what that meant in terms of race and ethnicity, about Black Lives Matter, about the Trump administration and the Trump presidency, of course. So you'll see lots. So this will either sound really exciting or really terrible. If it sounds exciting, great. Buckle up. We're going to be in for a good ride. And if it sounds scary, all I can say is give me a chance. Wait a minute before you get too scared. One of the first things, actually, I forgot to ask you in the introduce yourself, but how much US history have you all had? You all had to take it in high school. If you took, if you went to public school in California, you had to take, or in the US, you had to take at least a year of US history. You probably had to do a year of it in middle school. Has anybody not had any US history or very limited American history? So if I say, for example, the Mexican-American War, you know what that is? If anybody's going no, it's okay to say it. It's okay to say, or like, vaguely, was it a war between Mexico and the US? The name helps you out a lot. But okay, because see, I'm gonna assume some basic knowledge of US history. Like we're not gonna talk about every presidential administration and go through the precedents and all of that. We're gonna delve deeper into particular topics. Right. And even that, because this is still a kind of survey course, there's some things that I'm really only going to give you a taste of. And hopefully that gets you interested in like going further and like taking a class in Asian American studies, taking a class in Chicano studies, right, and African American studies, where you really delve more deeply into some of these themes dealing with race and ethnicity in the US. So there is a sense of like overview here with some basic knowledge. Like I expect you understand some basic US history chronology. You don't have to know every date and every fact or every precedent. You just, a basic sense of American history. I should also say, for those of you that are scared, to me, history is not about dates. It's not about names. To me, history is about the life of people and how the lives of people changed over time, right? And so that'll be the main thing. So for example, for your first reading for next week, for Monday, when you read, I'm going to talk more about this on Wednesday and Friday, but when you do that reading, I'm going to tell you, don't try to memorize it. You can't memorize it. Very few people can memorize a reading like that. Right? Instead, what you want to do is like go to the discussion board post that's due at the end of week 2. And you'll see this will help make it less scary once you see. These are the questions I already posted, and I'm going to post questions every week to start off, and probably for most of the semester, I'm going to giving you page numbers of where you can find the answer to these questions. And you'll see that my questions are not about when did this happen? It's more about why did this happen? What are the results of this thing happening? Right? It's more about causes and consequences, about change over time, and compare and contrast. So somebody had asked in the chat, like, when is this assignment? I called this discussion board a wild and savage myth. Week 2, it's due that Sunday, August 29th by midnight. So it's we have all of next week to discuss this material. So you don't have to rush in and like try to do the reading. Some of those questions you won't be able to answer. There's a couple of questions that are based only on the lecture. Only on the lecture. So you won't even you'll be able to answer most of them if you do the reading, but not all of them, because some of them are just like lecture. Right? So what you need for my class is these 2 readings, or at least the PDFs that I'm sharing or that your classmates shared on the chat, and you need access to Canvas. Okay. So for Wednesday, it's 11:50, so I've run out of time. So for Wednesday, you need nothing. Nothing is due Wednesday. You just have to come to our lecture, and I will start lecturing on Wednesday. Well, you'll see how my style of lecturing is. It's kind of lecture/discussion. Right? So you don't have to read anything. There's nothing to prepare to Wednesday. Just come to class. And we'll start talking about what are some basic things we need to understand the topics of race and ethnicity in the US history context. Clear? Clear as mud, I always say. All right, you're free to go, but if anybody wants to stay and stick around, if you have any questions or concerns, stick around and I'm happy to answer them. See you guys on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day. Any questions? No? Daniel? Oh, stop recording.